Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Plat, mostly going to be a Roadhog. I think we're starting on Zarya here. If you are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Hey Mentos, I'm doing well. What about yourself? Just had a game where Tracer pulse bombed a Torb turret and got a 3k. Nice, nice. Well, I guess it would have been like I mean, maybe not 3.5, but really more than a 3k if they got the turret too.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Okay, so we're starting here on the Zarya, excuse me. Your other tank is a Sigma. Sure. And we don't have a sightline to bubble that, but you were expecting that once your Winston was going... No, you don't have a Winston. What were you expecting to be able to bubble from here? Like, here you are. Trying to find right clicks. Like, you were always going to have to defensively bubble your team. Your team was always going to have to be the engaged upon, and that was going to take your bubble. I do like that you're off angling. Maybe you were going to go further this way to do it to get your bubble off. But then you don't, so... That's not going to work as a bubble. You should push her. You have your bubble. She's purple. Why are you not walking into this? You still have your bubble available. This is going to be a reload thing, isn't it? You really like to have full ammo. That's a wall. That's a wall. I suppose we've left our mark on this wall here with our drawing of like, we're just going to draw on that wall, but okay. So here you are, you're doing this. Sure, we'll live with that one. And you got the bubble on your I hope?
Get in there.
Yes. I don't know why you're reloading here. I know you're scared. I know you want the fight to be over. I know you want to be behind cover right now, but you're not. So I don't know why you're reloading rather than continuing to burn. I don't mind remotely if you try to walk this way. I know you would like to be here, be out of the fight, but you're not yet. So walk this way like this and continue using your ammo to burn them to do damage. Don't just reload and like hope they'll go away. Now you're sitting behind cover doing nothing because you've already reloaded, just waiting for heals. You could have gotten more damage done while still getting here at the same time. Okay, it's gone. Don't reload. Don't do it. Right click. Right click. Didn't need to reload. You've got 3 right clicks left in your clip. Okay, this isn't going to be a Zarya review, so hopefully we're not going to stay on reloads this whole time. Oh, another reload. You do want to think of each reload. I'm sleepy. You do want to think of each reload as basically costing you 1 to 2 shots that you could have had there. Your reload should really be when you're behind cover, when you don't have a better target to shoot at. Like that one was fine. You didn't have a better target to shoot at. And that wasn't because you were facing your screen in the wrong direction. You actually didn't have a better target to shoot at. Okay. Melt the Hammond a bit, sure. Not quite sure what that one was about, that projected bubble. Sure would have been nice to have it for this Zen. Okay. Good. Sure. Didn't need to reload there. Making the best of a bad situation where you've got the Zarya pick here with reasonable bubbles on your Zen against Dooms, Winstons, etc. Probably did want to actually use the bubble there, so I get it. He is now in a place where he can be getting shot at, is getting shot at. His barrier is not up anymore. We probably did want to use this, and the reason we want to use this is our Zen is Transcendencing, and like, we could go, nah, it's fine, I'll just wait until Transcendence is over, and maybe I'll get another opportunity. But I sort of look at this Scav reload bound down one. Oh, this isn't as bad as some Zaryas we've seen with the reloads. For some reason, she is a rough character for reloads. People just really like to reload all the time with her. What was I saying? Given that your Zen just popped trans and you know your Zen isn't really vulnerable and their Doomfist just got eliminated, you're less likely... Sorry, I was talking about a Winston. There's not a Winston. My brain is making this up, or was that a fresh swap? That might be a fresh swap. Okay, fine. So what I'm saying is, given that your Zen is invulnerable and their Doomfist just got eliminated and isn't going to be dropping anyone anytime soon, and there's no one else on their team that can jump your backline, you probably actually do want a frontline bubble this time. In general, you prefer, I'd say, to frontline bubble, to bubble your own your other tank as they're doing something that has attention on them as Zarya, than you do to reactively backline bubble. Absolutely, you can reactively backline bubble to protect something from something like a Doomfist when it shows up, if you happen to have bubble available, but you don't really want to hold for the backline reaction in most situations. And again, given that they're divers in spawn, and your most vulnerable backliner is invulnerable right now, we probably just want to get this bubble on cooldown, get some energy out of it, best we can do, which means our Sigma. Did not need to reload.
Tactical visor activated.
Did not need to reload. Kind of in the open here. Yeah, where's your cover? Fine, bubble. And now you're gonna grab this? Did not need to reload before that. Yikes. Yikes. So here you are, you're doing this.
Not good.
No personal? Like, they're clearly paying attention to you. You wanted to personal the instant it was available. Yeah, if you'd personal the instant it was available, you'd have another 100 health right now at least. You'd have more energy, which would take them down faster, which would cause you to take less damage. Like, She's sort of hoping that you'd get energy out of your buddy there, okay. Quick, does Roadhot have hair? Don't look it up.
I am still.
What color is his hair, if he has hair? I don't ever think we see him... I don't ever think we see him out of the mask, right? So we don't really know if he has hair on his head, if that's what you're referring to. So... I don't think we know. I mean, it could be in, like, we know from lore, from comics or things like that, but I don't really know Overwatch's lore all that well. Obviously, I've seen the shorts, but I didn't go, like, into their comics or read a bunch of the peripherals, etc. Hey, Bunny! Are we gonna take aggron? No. So, don't get me wrong, you need some energy right now. You do. You're worried about him because he's so low health. It becomes less of a problem after Sigma's in front. Okay, I'll live with that. It wasn't great, but I'll live with it. You can't really be this aggressive. You see what you're doing? So, like, here you are. Your personal bubble's now over. You don't have any cover. You don't have any cover. You could go right for cover now. I'm okay with you playing here. I'm not okay with you going here. You can't go here when you don't have your personal bubble. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. You can't play in the open like this without your bubble available. You can take an angle like this. You can be like, usually I'd play here. I'm going to angle out to take my off angle, and that's going to let me do more damage to you because the rest of my team is playing here where they have cover, for example, and therefore defenses, Sigma barriers, shifts, etc. go in this direction to block my team, and I get to shoot around them, so I do more damage. That's great. But you can only do this when you have a bubble available. Not when you're using your bubble. You can do it a little bit while you're using your bubble. But when you have a bubble available, you can angle out like this to get your damage done. That will cause them to not like what you're doing and start shooting at you. And then you use the bubble for value as you walk back. So you get the value from having had the bubble available of getting to do more damage from the side. That causes them to pay more attention to you, which means you bubble and reliably get energy because they're already paying attention to you. They're already shooting at you. It's not just guesswork that they're going to shoot at you. And then you start to work your way back using the bubble to a place where when the bubble fades, or maybe a little before the bubble fades or a little after the bubble fades, you can hotbind cover if you want. That is how this hero works. That means you can't be here with 4 seconds left on your bubble cooldown. Can't do it. Spoiler, we know, and you can see it on multiple skins. Oh, okay. How do you know it's not a wig? If he were to wear a wig for any hair he might or might not have, it would be considered to have a hair. Okay, okay. Well, maybe we'll see on the Roadhot skin that this player is using when we get there. Totally good with the frontline bubble, like I said, but I want it after your Sigma's pulled down their barrier. And when they're not bind cover. You can work a barrier into a Sigma's rotation. You can. They're going to rotate around their barrier, cover, and their shift. And you can rotate as well as their shield health. They're going to work around those things, but you can work a bubble into their rotation and increase their uptime by a little more. It's not amazing. It's not as good as bubbling, say, a Reinhardt that's swinging or a Winston that's going in, but you can do it. But you'd have to do it when that barrier isn't up, when he's not shifting. Do you know why you're eliminated? I know why you're eliminated. You don't have your bubble available, and you're angling out for aggression here. And you're like, no, Doomfist pushed me. No, you were angling out for aggression. He furthered what you were already doing, but you angled out for aggression. I also have no idea why you're reloading at 61 ammo without your bubble. Now you're trying to get back, but now you're not trying to get back anymore. You don't have your bubble. You don't get to push things like this. You need to play with cover available, with the ability to close your angle until you have your bubble available. And I'm not saying you only push while you're bubbled. You push because you have your bubble available. You have to leave. Yeah. Of course. Like, you had 70 HP when you bubbled. Of course they were just gonna burn your bubble and burn you. Like, I need to fly a blue wig if that's the case. Okay, Blah. Okay, so we're on to Roadhot. We have Roadhot here. Is this going to reveal it? Well, that hair is firmly under that hat, if there's hair on his head there. So I guess we don't really know. We will have to get Gamebuster to tell us. Okay, look at pickup defaults again. Okay, we will get led away on this. This adventure. Oh yeah, we do. It's a good point. Yeah, we knew that. We can see here. Obviously, we can see that hair. So, okay. We've answered that question. Memory wasn't there, but that's okay. There we go. Yeah, no, I threw it up there. We're good. We also could have looked at his portrait. I mean, it's in the portrait there. Right there. See? It's in the portrait right there. It's red. We called it red. He has red hair. Okay. Okay, so you're pushing this. Your team's not here yet. Why are you pushing with your backward forward? Okay. So you were early on this. You're totally safe, and you know you're totally safe because his lift puts you in a place where the opponents can't see you. So let's make sure that your breather is still going when you land. Like, absolutely make sure. Okay. You were. Okay. I see our not playing around cover continues on Roadhot. Maybe that was a one-off. Maybe it will now get better. Ah, the one-shot reload. Okay. Are we gonna go take high ground, or are we gonna keep playing around this corner? So like this happened, whatever. What if when we'd walked out of spawn, we'd gone over here and we'd said, no, I'm gonna control this? What if we'd done that? And then we'd been like, nope, I can play from here. I can make sure none of them can be on high ground. My being on high ground means none of them can be. What if we'd done that? Trying to hold them in the open, fine. You don't have cover here. Like, this is rough. Okay. Sure. Fine. You just need a little practice on that. I mean, we can get into it if we want. She's challenging. You go for that. Yeah. You don't want to shoot her fully in the head. And you can see where your explosion actually goes. You don't necessarily want to do that. You aimed a little higher than that, but it was nice. You do want to aim, obviously, a little more to the left, as that's going to work for you. It does look like when you actually released your fire, it was lower than it looked like in the replay. In the replay, it looks like you were really aiming at her head. You do want to sort of aim a little bit below her head, because she has a small head to hitbox. Like, if you look at Anna, she's sort of got a triangular build to her like this, and so her head hitbox is like, hey, wait, this is too small. So you aim a little lower. You aim in the upper part of the triangle, don't get me wrong, but you're looking more like, hey, let's get this portion of the triangle rather than this up here, or a full body shot there. But okay. Why did you walk back in? So, like, you take care of Anna, great. That card is held. That card is not going anywhere. Cart is good. Why are you leaving? Just stay right here. If you want to reload, so be it. If you want to fight the Brig, that's fine with me. Brig can't beat you. If Brig leaves, you just play from here and you have an off angle. As the Zarya's walking in here, as the soldier's shooting this way, you go right clicks, hooks, etc. Left clicks if they get too close. You're perfectly happy playing from here. Your Ana can see you to heal you from here. You're quite happy here. And as the opponents push in, like this, you get to push into the back of them as your team pushes into the front, or as they push into the front of your team, however you want to think about it. That's great. We like big off angles like this. Those make us happy. Those make us very happy. Why are you walking around and... You're a little short a couple times now of the shoot plus melee combo. And that's a pretty important combo to hit. If you're not reliably hitting that, you have to get into a hook shoot shoot combo or a right click hook right click combo. But the real solution is to upgrade your aim just a little bit to the hook. Good. Didn't go for the melee, went for that. Sure, we can breather here. I'm not sure why we're breathering in the open. Like, are you breathering in the open rather than going back behind cover because you want them to shoot at you? Or you're breathering in the open because you're wandering over to here? We have a little bit of an off angle of you're here while your Reinhardt's playing here. I'm okay with that, but you didn't move very directly to here if that's what you're doing. Sure. We're gonna reset her, no problem. Cool. Didn't really need to use breather there. Would have rather your supports got the heal. Rather your supports got their ult charge rather than you getting your ult charge for what's basically the worst ult in the game, but that's okay. Breather's really for sustaining you on angles or helping you get out when you're actually in trouble getting out, when you're actually under a ton of attention pressure, but that's okay.
Let them off.
On to Winston. Okay. You need to recognize your reloads on Zarya and get those fixed. That's going to be a problem. You're missing out on a lot of damage. Even if you miss like 4 out of 5 of your shots, 1 out of 3 of your shots with those right clicks, you're reloading and you're missing out on the ability to take right clicks by doing those reloads. That's missed damage, that's missed pressure on the opponents, that's a problem. You also need to understand on Zarya that you can get aggressive and take your angles away from cover when you have bubble available. Not specifically when you're bubbling, but when you have bubble available. That will cause people to shoot at you because you're doing damage to them that they don't like from a place that they don't like, which allows you to bubble, get more energy, get more damage, use that bubble to wander back to cover if you have to. That's how we want to work. We want to fix our reloads. We want to take angles when we have our bubble, or if we're pressing into the enemy past the rest of our tank line partner, whatever, we want to do it when we have bubble available. Not specifically when we're bubbling, when we have bubble available. That's how that works. For Roadhot, we do need to understand off angles are a thing and cover is a thing. Like if our Reinhardt is playing here, we can play over here against enemies that are here. That makes us quite happy. If we're in a situation where, say, there's a corner here, and our Reinhardt is playing here, and the enemies are playing here, that's fine. We can either find some other route to go use onto the enemies or find some other place, but we should still have cover that we're playing around to threaten the enemies from. That should still be a thing. We shouldn't just exist here. This is not a place. Just because we have take a breather Just because we have a lot of health doesn't mean we should just be like, ah, shoot at me. Being a tank in Overwatch doesn't mean you want to be shot at. You don't want to be like, oh, well, I'm taking damage and that's good. No, taking the ability to break a choke, the ability to take a little bit more burst damage while you do something, that causes attention to come to you and not get eliminated is good, don't get me wrong, but taking damage isn't a goal in Overwatch in most situations. You're not being like, ah, yes, I'm doing my job because the enemies are shooting at me and not my team. Like, sort of, but not really how it works. Taking damage isn't an outcome that you want in Overwatch. You want to have cover. You would like it, actually, if you were here and the enemies were shooting at you while you actually went here fully behind the wall and the enemies continued to shoot at you. You don't mind the enemies paying attention to you, but you don't want to actually take damage. It's not like, oh, I take damage, but it gets out healed, so we're good. It's no, the enemies don't get to even do damage because I use the wall. And then they look at my team, and I peek again, and I hook them in, and I eliminate them, and then I go back behind the wall. And then they don't like that I did that, so they pay a bunch of attention to me next time my hook is up, and I don't even have to come out from cover because they're so worried about me, and my team just melts them. Like, that's how it works. So we got to have our cover. You're playing too in the open as Hog, and that doesn't really make sense. But let's continue here and see what we get. There's more we can do on your Hog, but I want to see more before we
Ready for battle.
flood a bit.
Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2.
If you guys have questions or anything like that, comments, whatever, you can throw them up in chat. We've had a interesting discussion about Hog's hair color, I guess you could say. Go. Sure. This feels so bad. That feels so bad if you were that Doomfist right now. And then did you need to walk into this? Like, here you are. You do this. We're just going to make that Doomfist unhappy one more time. Do we need to walk forward into this, or can we stay right here and throw right clicks at that Sigma? Because if you walk forward into this, don't get me wrong, it makes you left click better. It makes your left click better, but you have to deal with, wait a second, you know that this is an open angle. Doomfist just came at you down this angle. So now you have an angle that's potentially threatened from here and here. Now it's not because the Sigma's paying attention in the other direction, but like if you're shooting at the Sigma, you can do that from back here, and these guys can't see you. Their sightline goes right past you but doesn't threaten you until they get into your sight line, at which point you can hook them, well, you don't have hook back yet, but you can right click them, left click them, etc. We didn't necessarily want to walk into this open sight line for our opponents. And you might not have known your opponents were there, but you kind of knew that your opponents were there. The opposing Doomfist came from there. You didn't see anyone up here. You don't see anyone behind your Winston. This is where your opponents are, in this courtyard here, which means this is their sight line, which means this is a better spot. Or this, but you can't get from here to here without walking, and why should we do that when we can right-click him perfectly happily from right here? No, not Rufflecopter. Yeah, you kind of walked into that. Sorry, here we are. Now you're gonna find cover again? Good. Sure. Okay. Works for me. Play around. I don't know why you're using breather. I guess you're missing enough health. Like, it's really not going to be hard to let your supports heal you from here, but okay. Why? Like, you go out here. Why are you walking in this hard? You can do everything you needed to from back here where you still had this thing to pivot around to use. Why are you walking forward into the open? In no way do you need to be here. In no way. I get that you're trying to keep a somewhat optimal right-click range, but I just don't care that much. I want to have my cover available to play around. And because you used breather when it would have been very easy for your supports to heal you, you are now caught in the open with no breather. Hey, Carolina. Sure. Tried to put yourself in the way there. That was good. Okay. Can we now threaten an off angle? Like, he's doing this, he's sort of distracting them. We just used our hook, so we sort of as Hog have a power spike, right? Like, we're powerful when we have cooldowns, we're not powerful when we don't have hook. And then we have hook and, okay, whatever. So, like, we have power spikes like that. So now we could contribute with right clicks. Like, that's a thing that we could do. But how about while hook is on cooldown and our team's clearly supporting this sightline, we spend the time that hook is on cooldown to go take control of this angle. And then when we're here, we'll have hook back and we'll have power on our angle here. So we like that. We like going, hey, tried to do my hook, didn't get value, let me go spend the time finding another spot. It's not like we couldn't stay here and provide some value with our right clicks, but they're not that great. We're not needed here. Let's go do this. Angles are better for increasing your team's damage than stacking by quite a bit. They compromise the opponent's cover. They make it so cover good against the main team isn't good against your angle. Cover good against your angle frequently isn't good against your main team. They reduce the value of AD strafing. Okay. So you want to check this thing. Fine with me. I like it. I like it. I probably would have said take this one instead, given that you had a friend up there already, but that's okay. Tuck right, tuck right. So, like, again, if your team was setting up around here and your Sigma was over here, you could work yourself over here and be like, nope, you guys can't work your way in. And you might be worried about them coming through that doorway, which is a little annoying, don't get me wrong, but you're threatening their main direction. If they do come through that doorway, you could actually step into here. You could also back up to here, but that's okay.
You're covered.
Genjis do that sometimes. Sure. Unfortunate. Hog hooks are so crazily long. They're pretty long, it's true. I don't think we've seen one yet, though, that has even been a max range hook. Not in this game.
Payload stopped.
Soldier 76 reporting for duty.
Cool. We like that. You took your off angle. Like this a little less. Like, you're actually good to hook from here. You're totally good to hook from here. I don't know why you're going all the way out here. And then you get stuck. And I'm not like, oh, you got stuck, how terrible, etc. But you shouldn't get stuck. Even if you do get stuck, it's pretty easy for you to like turn and look and continue to find your way out. You don't want to just stand here and be like, oh, it's okay, they're shooting me while I'm taking reduced damage. The reduced damage is nice and all, but let's actually get out of line of sight so we're not taking any damage. Let's reduce it further. I don't want to fight these guys from here. I don't need them doing this. Like, I don't need to be like, yes, paying attention to me. I've already done my work. I can close the angle. And then they'll go, oh, yes, we don't like that. And they'll start shooting over there. They'll start shooting over there. And then you immediately reopen the angle and start shooting at them again. But you don't just need them to shoot at you the whole time, because that demands that your Ana heals you the whole time. We don't really want to do that. Better. Are you gonna whole hog up? Kinda too late.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Nano helps. Sure. Clear the Discord. You don't drop. Why? Like, your team is good. I don't want to drop yet. I just want to right-click them in the head from here. Like, that'll work just fine. The range is a little short, it's a little awkward, but that's fine. You're gonna get hooked out of this. Okay. Something useful to know is that it's the same length as Coalescence. Interesting. 5 meters longer than Shatter. Okay. I think since he gives a lot less ult now, his hook length should be balanced to shorten that out. I mean, the thing is, he's still not, like, the strongest hero. Like, you can buff him further and make him overpoweredly strong, don't get me wrong, but D.Va and Sigma are that good. Like, there's a reason that D.Va is basically perma-meta, and when she's not, Sigma's in that spot, and it's because what they do with Defense Matrix, what they do with a spear that they can put out to block something and then pull it down, is that good. It's that good. Having sort of the defensive cover in that position for your team to sort of hold things together, to make things harder for the opponents, is that good. And Hog certainly makes things harder for opponents in some ways. He makes opponents play more defensively, play in different positions, but that's kind of more an offensive contribution, similar to what a Widowmaker does, for example. And your team really starts lacking that if you go, hey, let's bring... your team really starts lacking that defensive cover that's will make it harder for opponents to use ults, make it harder for things to happen if you bring the Hog rather than the D.Va, or in some cases the Sigma. I'm not saying it's not done. There's absolutely times where it makes sense to do so, but he's not powerful enough to displace the other off tanks right now. He's not exactly seeing huge amounts of use. Temporal, you're missing a fun discussion on how UK driving compares to US driving. I mean, I think I was there for what spawned the discussion. We're talking about the liability for larger versus smaller vehicles and how the UK had changed it. I think Netherlands too, Val told us, so that larger vehicles had more liability. And I was sort of scratching my head and going, I sort of get that. It sort of evolved from the discussion of how we're terrified of automobile drivers, car drivers, truck drivers not having liability when they hit a pedestrian, a skateboarder, a biker, etc., even if the car was like basically 0 in the wrong and the other thing was 100% in the wrong, we're still very afraid to not give liability to not give at least partial liability to the automobile because the automobile is so much dangerous and all that. And we go, oh no, what if people just didn't stop? What if people stopped trying to avoid these things when they were in the right? That would be terrible. And I can understand that, but um, it's also kind of like that's the case. I think that spawned from a place of a discussion about um, skateboarding, skateboarders, about people not liking skateboards or older people not liking skateboards. And I think Blah's take was that that was because they're worried about liability if they hit them, if they jump out into the road. Anyway, I'm going back through the early part of the conversation now. The point is, if you'd like to be a part of interesting discussions like this and the weird rabbit holes that we go down, you should join the Discord in the description below. And in there, you can see what sort of wild shenanigans we're getting up to. Carolina says I will be European time from now on. I wonder if it's easier to catch the streams. I mean, I do some morning streams. You know, I do more morning streams. Like the streaming community in general sort of goes evening streams. I do some morning streams for U.S. time zones, at least for West Coast U.S. time zones, and then midday streams as well. So like easier than many streamers to catch me. Yeah. At Nordstrom, it's a culture difference. It's hard to judge under a different value system. Uh, okay, we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious what's going on there, but I'm not going to share because people are going to have to go join the Discord to see what's going on there. Okay. I don't know that you need to keep pushing in here. Like, you went, aha, yes, I took down Sigma. Great, fantastic. Do we need to go forward anymore? And if we're going forward anymore, shouldn't it be like, hey, let me go get an off angle over here to play from, an off angle over here to play from, not let me just walk at the cart? Like, you're like, ah, yes, I used my hook, and now I'm Reaper. Well, no, not really. And even if you were Reaper, Reaper would take off angles too. Okay, at least you're playing on the right side of the cart while your team's on the left. Okay, some more use of cover.
We need to move the payload.
Hello? 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 My ultimate is almost ready.
30 seconds.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That's it. Just kind of hit that hooker now. Yeah. Okay. So we covered Shizaria plenty in terms of reloads, in terms of when you off angle, when you don't on her, and how it's related to your bubble. Hint, you off angle when your bubble's available. Or you get more aggressive, including off angling into more open space when bubble's available. With your hog, I want that off angling too, especially if your partner is a Sigma. I want that off angling to happen. I want that off angling. Wrong way. I want that off angling to happen. I do want more of that off angling. I want more of that playing around cover while off angling to happen. That would be good. That's actually what your breather is for. It's to sustain you on the off angle. So let's do that. Let's do less of this like let me go into brawl type thing and more of this let me go play on the off angle, hook someone in, right click, contribute value with right clicks, etc., and then tuck bind cover. You don't need to tank in this. You're like trying to enter the cleanup phase a little too early. You don't have to be like, ah, yes, I'm hog and I use my left clicks to finish people. I use my left clicks to finish people that I've already brought in. or that have come to try to clear me out, or that I run into while taking a flank route. I don't necessarily need to use my left clicks to win the battle while it's still in the like early stages, poke stages. We don't really need it to be the brawl until we've gotten a pick off, and even then we might go, I'd like to get a little bit more than that. So like you're taking more damage than you need to. You are being a little bit of a feeder hog. That punishes you less with the ult feed reduction, don't get me wrong, but we still want to go take our off angles more, do our work, and then when we do take our off angles, like high ground, we can do our hook eliminate, that's good, but then let's make sure we're actually in the cleanup phase, like it's a 5v2, etc., 5v3. We've gone up by at least 2 before we put ourselves in and go, yes, I'm going to be melee range with these left clicks to do all this work. So like, let's actually take our off angles, play around cover, don't feed as much ult charge. You don't need to go, yes, I heal myself and now continue to just tank damage in the face. If your hook isn't up, why are you just tanking damage in the face? Seriously. Like, don't do that. Just hop back behind the cover. If a support can get you, fine. If mid-battle you're like, I need to relieve pressure on my support by using breather, I can live with that. That's fine with me. Most of the time your breather is for supporting you on the off angle type thing. Where you won't be able to get support help. If you need to use it mid-fight, that's fine, like mid-fight in the middle of a brawl to sustain yourself so that you don't actually go down. I don't really have an issue with that, but you're putting yourself in those situations more often than you need to. Let's get a little less of this, like, close range, clean it up type thing, and a little more of this, hey, do my off-angle work, do my off-angle work, do my off-angle work. Let's go for these off-angles faster. Let's maintain cover when playing on these off-angles. We want our explosive power of hook, and then we've got our right clicks, and then once it's a big enough lead, we go in and win. Once it's a big enough lead, we go in and win. You're kind of trying to convert to your brawl phase too early and be like, I did hook, and now I'm just supposed to brawl it out, right? Well, why? You're not that good of a hero without your hook, to be perfectly honest. Why are you now brawling it out, trying to clean it up, etc.? Like, you're not Reinhardt. You're not actually Reaper. Don't do that. You're okay at it, but don't do it. You require a ton of healing to do that sort of thing. You take a ton of damage doing that sort of thing, and the damage you do is kind of meh, to be perfectly honest. Um, with your right click, you can do as much. With your hook, you do more. Obviously, you can hook from the angles. Split the enemy's attention better with your angles. Okay, that's going to cover it. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. If you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, as well as see what sort of interesting discussions we're having about driving laws, trucks, things like that, in, I guess, the US versus UK right now. Huh. Okay. With this Hog Sigma team comp, who should comprise the core relative, which can take off angles? I mean, I don't mind if you're operating from 3 different angles. Say Sigma on the left, Hog on the right, core down main. That wouldn't bother me. But if you had to pick one, you would put Sigma with the core and Hog on the off angle, is the answer to your question. Now I'm Reaper. Nice. Okay. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks, Temporal out. And I'm not immediately going to head into another stream right now. I do have a session, so I'll do another stream later. Peace.